That's Joe from OmniPoke. The channel... the channel that brings you everything Pokemon. If you want PTCG live codes, use the code OmniPoke at the PoTown store for 5% off.
That was great. We'll go with that one. I don't think we're doing better than that. Right, we're here to have a talkie about Milwaukee.
Oh, you're terrible.
It's a almost 1,700 player tournament, Journey Together. There's still one more tournament in the US for Journey Together. There's still more in Europe. So myself and Emily are going to be going over the results, looking at the metagame, also looking at some of the Limitless Labs, which is such a great website, for the conversions and whatnot of the best decks, as well as the deck lists themselves, and also talk about how we think the metagame is going to be adapting and such. So let's start with the day one analysis, shall we? Any surprises here, Emily?
So since Milwaukee is technically my region as the North American caster here in the pair,
yeah,
I'm gonna be honest with you, absolutely not. We'd all know that Gardevoir and Dragapult were going to be easily the top two. I think the big surprise going in is how much Miraidon has converted, but I've always said that Miraidon has been more of like an America's deck. If you ask me, a lot of our great Miraidon players are American. So I was kind of expecting Miraidon to be definitely on the day one. I wasn't expecting it to be third, though. But it makes sense, right? Just in the meta, because so many decks right now are just playing a little bit slower, that Miraidon is really able to take advantage of going second and then finding your big knockouts with hands. It just feels really good, especially because not a lot of decks right now, I mean, at least Dragapult, right? Not playing too many rare candies.
Mm-hmm.
So
sometimes none.
Yeah, sometimes none even. So I like the Miraidon Pikachu EX. I know here it's being called Miraidon EX / Pikachu EX, but of course it is I mean, it's Joltik box, right? That's what everyone's calling it. I think it's really interesting, though, if we look right into 4th and 6th, that we see both variations of Golden Go.
They combine to 15%.
Which is crazy. This can't be one of the first times that we're seeing something like this, of 2 archetypes being so prevalently played. And I know it's a smaller regional, technically, which is crazy to say 1,700 players is smaller, but... still, and then, of course, Raging Bolt the Goat. Very excited about its win, but nothing too surprising here. There.
Yeah, that's a lower day one representation than...
It's fair.
It did poorly in the first in Atlanta, right? For its day 1 to 2, it did poorly.
Yeah, it's not great.
I'm not doing this. This isn't a personal attack on you, by the way. But enough people still having faith in the deck. But it does feel like if you combine that Golden Go basically being more popular than Gardevoir, that is a big representation of the field. So definitely an expectation that this is the stage 1 deck that can take on the stage 2s.
Sure.
Which I think is an interesting thing to look at. Jumping into the day 2, and then we'll jump over to Limitless Labs as well for a bit more analysis on this.
I mean, it just looks like every Joltik box player hit every Gardevoir player, which is like their worst nightmare. That's got to be contributing, right? Yeah. It's gotta hurt, right? But that's the thing, right? When the field is so many of these setup decks, right, and the setup decks are going slower, right? What realistically, when you get turn 2 Iron Hands, can an unfair stamp do when you still just all have these baby stage 1s right there? So, I mean, I'm pleased as the former Miraidon player. I have yet to touch Joltik box, to be quite honest with you. I know there's been some variations in the list of playing some things like Gravity Mountain, for example, or We Don't Need Gravity Mountain, anything along those lines. Oh, yeah, that too.
I like that.
All right, we'll get there. But, I mean, the decks from day 1 to day 2 don't change, other than the fact that Golden Go minus Dragapult has essentially swapped, but I mean, it's the same page, just a couple of decks have gone up and down.
Yep, it looks like just having that extra bit of Dracloak draw generally is good, having that flexibility of Phantom Dive is good, and yeah, Miraidon does seem to be that deck profiting more than anything. I think this really is that check to Gardevoir that we didn't have, maybe at the start of this format, because this was more of an emerging deck. The fact that it's here now, with type coverage at its disposal,
right.
And like you said, it just shrugs in the face of Buju, which no other deck does quite as well as that deck, right? Because you're so happy to sit and Jolting Charge again, or just say, well, I'm coming in and
Use
I'm going
hands.
aggressive with hands
Right.
and saying you're on the clock. So let's before we jump into deck lists in more detail, let's have a look at some of these conversions then. If we go to the day one conversions for the most popular individual decks, these are the ungrouped lists. So you can see
Right.
Dragapult and Dragadusk are separated here. So as the individual decks, looking at the conversion, as you can see, Joltik Box had a pretty strong conversion for such a popular deck. Other standouts, the straight Dragapult is always outperforming the Dragadusk, by the way. That's the case for all of the events we've had so far. A lot of Dragapult success, apart from Hedrick's result with the Dust Noir build, a lot of the key success stories have been straight Dragapult lists for the most part. Dragapult Guldengo having a pretty good tournament.
Yeah,
Roaring Moon having a fantastic
best
tournament. We'll have a
yeah.
look at a couple of those as well. And then the data gets a little bit hazier because
Charizard.
naturally there's low counts. But yes, Charizard still had some decent placements actually, and also did very well in Japan.
I mean, look at Feraligatr too, 44%, and then
That's the thing. When it's this lower numbers, it can
come
look very,
on, give us a credit,
it
Joe.
can look impressive. Moon to Dance will look at lists as well
Yeah,
for
talk
that
about
that had
that
a
one,
strong
too.
placement.
The 100%.
There's the hundreds and the
was
zeros.
So good. That's so awesome.
There can be sad stories in there as well. But I think generally, we like Joltik Box positioning.
Yeah.
We like Dengo Pult over straight Dengo? Question mark. I think this one has a little bit more legs to the late game Budgie plays that opposing Pults will do to you. Like, I feel like a regular Dengo sometimes has to be concerned about its remaining resources to, like, close games, so it doesn't get scammed by the Counts Catcher, Budu, non-stop stuff. Whereas the Pult can, like, keep enough around to be, like, still able to have a fine attacker, or am I just off the mark there?
I don't know. It's first of all, you're talking to somebody who's played minimal games on the Pult build, but a lot of games on straight Golden Go. My whole thing is sometimes when I think about where we are with Dragapult right now, of course, and we were talking about this yesterday or 2 days ago while we were testing on live.
Yeah.
I think we've all just taken, like, Crispin out. Like, I still think Crispin right now is a really, really good card. And for when I look at Golden Go Dragapult, I'm like, all right, well, if this is just as good as, you know, it's going to get, right? Like, I would love to Crispin to a Dragapult and pivot, essentially. Like I said, barely any games.
Also, Crispin to Monkey
Dengo
is, like,
yeah.
one of the biggest
That's
plays you can do.
Huge, yeah. I think Crispin stocks, I think we all, like, said it before rotation that Crispin stocks were going to go up. But it's just, like, I look at every single one of these, like, decks within, like, the top, all of them, to be quite honest with you, and Crispin just works in so many of them. It just works out so well. I would say, like, right before ends Zoroark, for example, like, or right after. Yeah, no, right before. That would be, like, where Crispin would fall off. And Crispin should be played in all these, right? Terra Box and Eevee Box. Of course, it's super played in Joltik. I mean, you can make a case for Gardevoir as well. It doesn't need it, but still, I mean, Crispin is just one of the best supporters I think we have in the game right now.
What you're saying is a lot of these decks win by breaking that chain of attacks from Pult.
Correct.
So keeping that chain via Crisp is massive. Especially with more jamming towers coming in, even into Pults. It makes that random EXP share a lot worse. It obviously makes the Crystal worse. We think, like, we pretty much have to stamp, I think. Which means Crispin is just, like, the go-to guy. Even if it is just a 1 or 2 of, I feel like you weave it in quite often.
Yeah,
right, good shout. Let's have a look at some of the deck lists themselves then for the highest placing players. Starting off with Christian Labella with Raging Bolt. And I know you've played on stream with this exact list and you've been testing with a very similar deck list. Let's talk about some of the, like, the standout differences, I suppose. Oh, do you have something first?
I do.
Go.
So, I've been, like, the only Raging Bolt player at locals for a little bit,
Okay.
I will say.
Everyone's lost faith.
I brought it to Atlanta too, and I almost made it there, making a day 2. I think as long as you know what to do versus Gardevoir, I think any matchup is winnable, and thus we had a really great showing of that on stream with Christian's uses of Baby Bolt, Baby Raging Bolt. Thunderburst Storm is such a good attack, and honestly, I wasn't a Ditto believer before. Because, you know, I wasn't really, like, finding the usage for it. I guess I just had really blessed hands, to be quite honest with you. But ever since I've put Ditto in the deck, It's definitely helped me out a lot. I think LaBelle's list is fine as it is. There were a lot of cuts originally from my Raging Bolt list. Like, for example, I thought playing 4 Ogre Pawn was a little much. We can use that to add a consistency card. For example, like my Atlanta list wasn't playing a 4th Ultra Ball. So I actually think this list that we have right in front of us is pretty fair. I think I took out the Judge for Iono.
That's always a debate card, right?
Yeah, I mean, it does 4 cards, 1 card, you know, it really kind of depends. But I actually think this list is great. It has a lot of recovery. I do love the 2 energy retrievals, if we're being really honest. But your card, MIlwaukee, you still love it. I hate it. I don't know why.
It's just a good card.
Great,
It
thanks.
just bails you out of Iono. What more do you want?
Sure, fair.
I do think, like, just real, like, people will find a way to ignore Fez and Iono you. So having the fallback is good. Or if you only have Fez down, they can carry the Fez, and then you're still just like, I'm crumbed on low hand.
Fair.
So having both plus floating hoots is always like a good way to finish. Labella had some great stream games making the Ditto look insane.
Yes.
Because he kept starting with freaking Mew and then retreat into it, which made it look really valuable. But I think, like you said, there are still some cards that are debate cards. I think the 4th Ultra Ball is probably the most flexible spot. Maybe the Mew as well, but I really like it. And I think, like you said, second retrieval is a nice comfort.
So
it's such a horrible card to prize, which makes you think 2 copies feels good.
Yeah.
And also Turo Scenario is really reasonable.
Oh, that's the card that we have
Yeah.
in there. Oh
So-
my god, I love my Turo. Being able to Turo out a Knock Towel to just have it in hand for next turn feels really good, right? We're not essentially just throwing down our owls and then just banking on drawing a Night Stretcher to reestablish. We always pose that imminent threat in the hand, and that feels really good. I just love Professor Turo Scenario, especially, of course, Maractus control was
Exactly.
definitely like hanging around a
It's
little
just
bit.
finding its way into stuff, right?
Yeah, why
If
not?
Jolted boxes are playing it, some straight pults are playing it. Like, having Palpad Turo Prime feels a lot better than just having Prime that can be shut down by Genesect anyway.
Right.
So that's a fear factor. So yeah, I think Turo is still worth debating. But otherwise, all the accounts look really good. And I think Bolt has been under-respected. And I think Labella playing so much on stream
played beautifully.
showed, like, the blueprint of we're not just smashing with the 2-prizer like we've seen it in the past.
Yeah,
And like you said,
enough
even
of
that
the
Turo helps
bleed.
with you have that play as well, right? I know when we've been testing a lot, you've put Ogapon down, Jewel Seeker, turret it back up, and
Yes,
then you're
sir.
still representing, like, oh, I'm just fan rotoming and Baby Bolt slithering my way through this game.
Yeah.
Until I'm 3 prizes ahead, then I can start putting the ogres down. It doesn't matter that there are 2s around.
It's the same thing with that kind of like ideal, and I did this a lot at Atlanta versus Gardevoir, right? You want to be able to use your owls, but the thing is, how you beat Gardevoir as a Raging Bolt player is you just take your single prize knockouts. Your ideal is to take at least 2 with no 2-prizer on the board, which is really hard to do.
Yep.
But if you're able to do it, the moment they put down Gardevoir EX, that is your go time to start going on ahead and finding your bosses, your prime catchers, your Sada's Vitalities, because then you're going to have a much more comfortable matchup there.
Yeah, especially with the jamming as well. Like, even if they overcommit one thing, knowing that you could Gust KO the Guardi,
Yes, sir.
you can still catch them with jamming and KO something else. So.
Absolutely. It's a great deck list. Congratulations to Christian. I believe it's his first time winning a
look.
regional as well. So, yeah,
Yep,
first
first
time.
regional win.
So, big congratulations. Obviously, a player who is super consistent, who's a fantastic player as well. So, great season so far. And we'll see you at Worlds.
Yep, guaranteed invite. Nice. Let's have a look at Makani, another player with a really strong season.
Big shout outs to Makani. It was very unfortunate to see some of the games go down, though.
Yeah, I feel like we saw a lot of awkward hands from these Dragapults in the
Oh,
top
yeah.
cut specifically. Is that just a case of how thin they've had to trim things? Because you look at counts here where there's only 1 nest. A lot of people going up the support accounts, which is good, but doesn't help you like all the time. I'm still like half and half about the Genesect. Like I see its value so much, but then I see that you have to also play 4 tools. And from what I've been playing, I've just been playing even more Brock, even more Research, even more Nest, just to make sure that I'm not out the game. I don't know. That's still my debate. Like
I would cut a Genesect here.
You'd cut it. Interesting.
Yeah, I would cut it. I mean, I see its like obvious value, like you were talking about, but
Yeah.
I will always try and value consistency. And like for example, Luxurious Cape Badoo, like we're already playing a charm. I'll be honest with you, I don't play Dragapult too often. Like, I know what it does. I try not to play the best deck in format too often because, it's pretty obvious on what you do there. But at least this is like a very standard Dragapult list, at least. I mean, this is that straight Pult that we're talking about. On Fair Stamp is just, I still think is absolutely the best ace spec in the game right now, at least for this deck. I think we've really drawn away from Sparkling Crystal, at least in Dragapult, right? And I think it's totally fair. It'll continue its dominance. It's still very, very good. So I think if you have enough games on it, keep playing it. I just think Genesect could, like you said, go for another consistency card, Nest Ball, for example. But Brock Scouting, we've been talking about it. You were talking about it at the last special championships that you casted. It's just such a flexible card. I think it's a fantastic opener. I would never be upset going second and having Brock in my hand.
Yep, I completely agree. A few other question marks. Switch versus Turo is kind of an interesting one. To offset some math, maybe like reuse a monkey at times. You can get really cheeky with those sorts of plays, whereas the Switch is a bit more limited as like purely a way out of your Blood Moon or a corner trap. Yep. And then the other debate is like 3 Night Stretcher feels really high,
That's fair.
especially when you don't play Darkness Energy. Like the list I've got currently built is only on 1 Luminous, plays 1 Dark, and then plays 3 of the basic energy, and then has Crispin in there.
Yeah,
so like
we
it's
were
completely
talking about
different. That. But this is a Crispinless, like we've seen the 3 Luminous again and again for really high placements,
right.
So there's nothing like against it. But I suppose you just have to play that high of a Night Stretcher because you're offsetting with a low energy count. But there are issues with playing a low physical energy count. Even though I'm only +1, it's just that it's another nice like retreat into Budu option, and you just see them all the time through recons. So that's a small debate. Like I feel like the 3 Night Stretcher feels really high to me. I don't understand what you're reloading that often outside of giving yourself like protection from research or something.
But do potentially to do it again if you can't find it.
Yeah, I mean a lot of the time you will try and stretch it back to the first Badu that's taken, but you always have Buddy anyway. Like it doesn't feel that bad. And only 1 stadium. Like this is as trimmed as it gets, I think.
Right.
For Makani. And that's
but congratulations.
That's the thing. Like obviously Makani's a great player. We're not saying that, and obviously the list is really high quality. But we're at this point in the format where we have to scrutinize like every single count, not now, but also going forward. So not only did it have that good day 1 to day 2 conversion, but Joltybox also got that top 4 placement with Alex here. What do you think about this list? I think this one is also techie.
Well, the leaves, you want to talk about the tech itself, it's the iron leaves in general, right? If you haven't been playing the Pokemon trading card game for a long time, Charizard EX is Miraidon's biggest op ever. I always cry myself to sleep when I have to play that deck. Iron Leaves are really good tech for a really bad matchup. I think Pikachu obviously can take care of that with like a Gravity Mountain, but I think something like Iron Leaves is pretty techy. Lily's Clefairy EX has been proven also to be just like this MVP card as well. It's very simple to power up when you really think about it. 1 Crispin and you're ready to go to just get rid of Dragapults. I know for me, I've been having a really hard time because I always forget that Lily's Clefairy EX is just Raikou. It is the same thing as Raikou, and my brain will just never like let me play this like properly. But it's so much high supporter count. My goodness, you have the Arvin, you have the Crispin, you have the Boss's Orders, 13 supporters, which is not, unknown for Miraidon, right? I mean, how many times were we playing like 15 energy, for example? We're playing 14 now, just all different colors. But I know for me, I definitely want to experiment with this list. I think this archetype right now is the aggressive player list. I think Raging Bolt has essentially calmed down by a few steps. And if you want to go fast, get your early lunch breaks, be able to walk around, 3 attacks, you're done. Play Joltik Box right now. I know for me, I'm definitely going to be experimenting with this list.
So it feels weird to see another top 8 or a top 4 list that also plays that Genesect, and I'm again going to hate on it. But I think this deck is a really tight bench space deck, in that you always want Fesmew, Lati. You always have a Miraidon down, and then it's the things that you've pulled out with a Miraidon. And then, as stuff gets KO'd, you're putting down your Blood Moon or your Clefairy. So I don't think there's that much space to weave the Genesect. And even with that really high supporter count, a lot of the time you're just spamming that Crispin button every time, so you don't actually find Genesect freely that often. I guess it's like do you think this is just mirror tech?
Could be mirror tech.
Mirror/bolt tech, where you're like, okay, I'm shutting down Prime Catcher, right? Is it just that relevant?
I mean, it's hard to say, right?
The thing is, Bolt can get around your Pikachu anyway, so there's nothing that's actually safe.
Let's go Slitherwing.
Yeah.
Keep your Slitherwings in the deck.
And in this matchup, Pikachu can always Pika. I guess you can't Pikachu a Pikachu, right?
Nope, cannot Pikachu.
So this is a mirror tech, I guess.
I suppose so.
So it could be ahead of the curve in that regard.
I think it's also just you don't always have to put it down, right? But sometimes
of course,
when you start it, it's like, ugh.
I'm terrified of playing a deck like this that has no internal draw, though, because all your supporters, only one of them draws you cards, and it's Iono, and that's drawing you like 2. Because you're the one being aggressive.
You just go fast.
And I'm always like, if I'm playing a Mew Fez engine, that 4th Ultra will just feel so good to just make sure you're not whiffing it.
So question for you, is there space in this list ever for an Area Zero?
I think you could. I think you can cut Bravery down to 1 and fit Area Zero. But again, it's like a stadium's so hard to find in this deck.
Yeah.
You know?
You just gotta draw into it.
Playing 1 is just so gross, I think.
Yeah, this deck I think has a horrendous matchup to Raging Bolt as well. So, I don't know. But this is definitely your go fast deck of the format.
Is Bolt that bad? You go second, you Jolting Charge up. Like, sure, they can knock out one of the 2 threats.
I mean, you have at that point, right? So let's say it's going back into Raging Bolt turn 2. I'm just going to fish for boss.
Yeah.
Fish for boss, fish for prime, unless you have Genesect down, and then I'm already ahead on the 2.
Yeah, but I can use Galvantula on your Squawk or on something else. And
it's gonna have to be more for the live stream testing.
I guess. I don't think it's that horrific. Like it's not a good.
bad.
It's not a good matchup for this for sure. But I don't think like I'm scared of playing this if there's Bolt in the room. You know.
That's fair.
It's definitely not. I mean, you'd much rather see the stage 2s, obviously.
Oh,
but.
yeah.
So the Dust Noirs are still in the mix in this top 8. We have Julio here, who had some really unfortunate draws. But I really like the concept of this list because it's a hybrid. Yeah. We've seen a combination we've only ever seen a split of straight Dragapult that utilizes Monkey Dory or Dust Noir.
Yep.
And this is taking the Luminous count from the straight Draggers and then still has the Curse Blast package.
Yeah.
So we are really trying to cut corners here with counts. But it gives you sort of the best of both worlds in a lot of ways, in that you're still dictating your counter catchers that bit more, and you have more explosive damage output with this approach. And you also get, in Mirror Match, if you can't weave in your Dusk, you still have Monkey. So you're not losing out to a straight pot in the mirror, just by virtue of the Dust Noir being dead cards, which are still dead cards if you don't get them out in time. But if you do get them in time, then you're like back really ahead, right? Because then you have Adrenabrain plus Curse Blast, and that's so dangerous, I think.
Pokemon League Headquarters, gotta talk about it. Okay. I think this is a great tech card for the meta. I remember I shoved this card in my Golden Go list at Orlando when Ancient Box was really kind of prevalent, and it gives people a lot of hard times, especially, you know, Raging Bolt. Sometimes it does have trouble getting that final energy on the board, especially when we cut an Ogerpon. So I like the Pokemon League Headquarters here. It's definitely some cute little meta tech, but I do like this list a lot. Like you said, it's a little bit more hybrid. I mean, Jacques, always a great card. I just want to see the Pulse play Crispin. I really do.
I think especially with League Headquarters, actually, because we actually saw, it was against Raging Bolt, it was against Christian,
it was.
Where obviously Julio was behind, so he was only really had the option to Blood Moon because the Dragapult was getting dealt the cloaks were getting dealt with turn by turn, but he couldn't go Iono Headquarters because his only attacker would be Blood Moon anyway.
Correct.
And that sort of leans into, I need Crispin in this list so I can continue a Dragapult chain.
Correct.
And still have that disruption. But I think the card is very good, but I would also, again, I'm just thinking 1 Dark, 1 Luminous, 3/3 just feels so good to me.
Don't leak your Portland play, bro.
I'm such a genius, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, very cool hybrid, and I think more Dusks can learn a thing or two about that.
Well, this is high
Owen
energy,
and a handful of other players have been rocking the same list. This is classic straight pot, I suppose.
Classic Bolt.
Not many thrills, but these are all just high counts of the good stuff. Can't argue with it too much. Looks good to me. Nothing out of place, right?
Nothing crazy.
Yep. the 3/2/2 is super thick
3/2/2.
Dusk, and that just eats up space, and it is what it is. But
Yep.
seeing that EXP share pop in is pretty cool. The Ian Rob Flareon, I think this got a lot of people talking as well when it's a high-profile player like Ian playing quite an outlandish choice. He was quite brash on the stream, saying like, "Oh, I'll just dodge Gardevoir," and I don't think he actually means that too much because I feel like Angelite is probably the carry there. If anyone gets too frisky throwing too many Psychic onto one guy, Angeliting a Guardy and the thing they've loaded 5 energy onto is like a really hard punish.
Yeah.
And also if they just only have like one Ralts, one Guardy out, which is quite common for Gardevoir, normally that's a safe spot to be in. Sylveoning both of those away seems like a good deal. I feel like you just have to not have a conventional race against the Guardy. But this is farming Golden Go, which was, as we said, the second most popular deck if you combine the two, which is a big deal. You have the Psychic type coverage for the Dragapult, so that's already like 35% of the room covered, which is pretty insane. And Sylveon can bail you out of a lot of weird spots. So is this the best? Well, I guess Raging Bolt did just win. But is this better than Terror Box as a choice in the metagame?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, while we were doing our tabletop streams the other day, I think I even said it. I said, I personally think I'm too dumb to play this deck because it's just like Terror Box where I sit there with a bunch of cards in my hand and I Jewel Seeker because I have EVX in play and I go, all right, and now what? I love the versatility and the flexibility, of course, of any Terror Box and EV Box list. I love the EV Box right now. Like I said, it's that flexibility that really does it for me. Angelite is really funny. I will never forget Adam Skarzek-Watson's face as we watched it happen behind the stage at Atlanta. We were just he was so floored. It was so great. But I love a Briar in any type of Terra deck. I think it's an underutilized card. A 1-of is perfectly fine. The Brock is there. The Crispin, of course, high Crispin count, Sparkling Crystal. I think Ian and his group, I do know another player in his group, Michael Bio, who also did, I believe, top 64 with this list. It's a great list. I know I was playing it. I know you were playing it. You were having a great time playing it too. I think it's a solid list, and I think the more reps you have on this, the more dangerous you'll become. And also big shout outs to Nathan Stratford as well, who kind of brought EV Box more and more into North America, I think, from his performance at Atlanta too.
The one thing that we felt in testing was just the low EV count.
Yeah.
We've sometimes felt
It's so...
a second boosted, I think, is pretty welcome. I don't know the cut yet, but that's a card that I'm like kind of yearning for. That's the only thing that I'm thinking of right now.
Do you think we need 4 owls?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I was just asking. I was just asking. A genuine question.
You don't trim these boys because if ever you have more in your hand, you can just get more EVs.
Yeah,
so you're never upset with that.
Low buddy poffin count too, though, when we were playing like the baby EVs, for example. But
yeah,
it's
one of
hard
those
to
things.
say, right?
It's low physically in a count, but it's higher than a Terror Box count. So I'm like, oh, this is bonus cards, not like
more
taking
cards.
stuff away. You know.
Great list, though. Big shout outs to Ian's group. I think they all did pretty well, too.
I think Flareon is super real right now.
It's fun.
We do have
another
straight Dragapult in top 8. This, again, more of the same. Seeing the Defiance sneak in with the... I think you either played Jammings and the Neo Upper that we saw in Europe, or you played the Defiance in here. So that you can deal with Bravery Charmed... Clefairies or Muse more in particular.
Yeah, fair.
Again, it's the switch rather than the Turo. Not playing the Lati either. But it's the low ball search count, right? It's everyone's pretty low.
They just got it like that.
Brent Tonneson, your favourite Brit.
Don't do that to me.
Playing the same list that he's stuck with, and another top 8. Like, what else can you say?
He's just
win, and then just another... I mean, look at the list. This is just such a strong 60.
I love how he won Monterey with it and was just like, I'll just keep taking it places with me. And big shout out to Brett. I believe Milwaukee was his last regional on this side of the globe, at least. Maybe, I don't know if he's going to NAIC, but honestly, Brent just, 1, a nice guy, and 2, just such a dedicated player. I mean,
look at the season.
I mean, come on, man.
Over many seasons, of course, but this season in particular,
41K.
Right, it's not about the money. It's about the play. It's about the pride and the placement.
Yeah, but it's also about the money because how is he
All
also...
right.
He's traveling to all of these regionals as well. I mean, it's such an investment. So big shout outs to Brent, of course, the GOAT.
So let's also have a look at the asymmetrical cut. How many people were in the asym? Can you remember? Was it 10 people? I can't remember. No, it was 14, was it not?
I don't know, man.
I can't remember. Anyway, let's look at some of the unique lists in that there was an Enzorok from Lucas Zing, again, top US player. Has the Bombardier EX, which kind of caught a lot of people out as like, what? But really this is just a cornerstone answer that is not a bad lead in the deck, because it's a one retreater and has fast carrier as a consistency attack, so that puts it over the top of other non-ability attacking mons, and obviously this can put itself back into the hand as well. You got something?
Yeah, I think a lot of the times when players play N, because I think a lot of us were really excited when this deck was kind of announced, right? I think for a lot of the Mew VMAX players, they were like, oh my god, it's like coming, I'm back. I think the setup with this deck is not always cohesive. It's kind of... Sometimes it's really difficult to like get all the way set up, especially because Darumaka is not searchable off of Buddy Buddy Poffin, so we have to go on ahead and use things like Nest Ball. So, and I'm not seeing Nest Ball.
No, Nest Ball.
So I think honestly, Artisan, but I just think Bombardier is a great option, especially when we're playing two Professor Turo scenarios to get it out. I love the Cypher Maniacs code breaking in this deck as well. Why not just be like Golden Go and manipulate what you're going to be able to get to?
Especially when combos like Reversal, Defiance, Countercatcher are like such important combos for the deck. I felt like when I was playing Harvey's list that's just Research Iono, there are times when your back's against the wall and you know you need a 3-card combo, and even when you draw 12 cards, you're not going to see it, and you're like, sheesh, I am just so far behind now.
There's also Secret Box in this deck as well, which I really enjoy. I love the Black Belt as well, but for Cyrano, we're finally seeing it. I know I made a tweet a very long time ago. I was like, post-rotation, this could get really good, and honestly, we are finding the bank with it now. I'm really excited that Cyrano's starting to definitely come around, and I think it's 100% better than like something like a Hyper Aroma would be, and we'd love to see. We will always just love the flexibility of Secret Box, right? Especially when we can use End's PP up to get those dark energy back if we use it to pitch it. I think it's a great list. Big shout outs to Lucas as well, just another player that works really hard, and I just love a more innovative End list rather than kind of the same old that we've been seeing.
And Cyrano also unlocks that Bombardier a bit more as well. As long as you start Castle, you can Cyrano for the bomb and 2 Zorak and then just be in. Or if you start Budget or Cleffer. So there's all the box as well. You have a lot of avenues to actually get T1 bomb. Yeah. Which is actually pretty cool. So, yeah.
Gotta build this one. I'd rather convert our endless to
I
this
definitely
one,
like Cypher for sure. Like, I've been yearning for Cypher in the deck, so that's important. More Dragapults and God of Wars. We've seen a huge chunk of these. So let's jump down to Caleb Rogerson, who's had an insane season, by the way.
Yes.
With another... Well, this time is our first Golden Go Dragapult list. Any standout cards, or is it more of the same?
I've been...
More of the same, really, right?
Been back on my Golden Ghost stuff for a little bit now. I'm obviously looking at the energy count. The energy count looks A-okay to me. Like I said, I feel like a Crispin is always just a good idea.
We're Crispin standing today.
Just play Crispin in every deck you play. Just because, like, worst comes to worst, right? Golden Go goes out, you can just pivot to the best attacker in the game. Why not? Like, Dragapult, of course. Golden goes back, though. I think it's a great deck. I definitely need more reps on it, though. But just draw card good. That's what this deck does.
Pretty cracked. And
Pretty cracked.
We like the supporter engines getting more and more streamlined as well.
Here we go.
Now we're dropping down to lists that are outside that top 16, but ones we've highlighted. So Aiden with a great result with this Roaring Moon, the Dunsparce deck.
I'm crying.
Mostly, I mean, this is mostly Ancient Bot. I don't even know what you call this. It's like a straight Baby Moon. Like, this is a low damage output, 2-shot, 1-prize deck that just has Runaway Draw available. You eventually get in the sort of low to mid 200s with it, with the amount of Ancient cards you have. You have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 21, 22.
I mean, you get there.
So you get to the low 20s, right? In the late game.
And then you just neutralization zone at the end.
This is the jump scare that there's only a handful of decks playing more than 2 stadiums, and they already have a reason to bump artisan because you're getting value every turn of the dance, and you're showing them that value every turn, being like, aha, I'm just getting my draw out.
Yeah.
You got to remove this artisan. Or all the stage 2s are playing artisan themselves, so they see it in play, they start ultra balling and researching those away. That's the first fodder you see, and you can jump scare them with the neutralization zone. And I definitely think there's something to be said about when you're playing up against Aiden,
Who's a fantastic player.
Who's a great
as well.
player. You wouldn't think he plays such a silly gimmick card in neutralization zone. Does that make sense? That it also like adds to the surprise factor that such a strong player is playing this goofy card.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's real?
It's definitely the meme ace spec, if you will, right? But we've really finally seen a great use for it. Like you said, a lot of decks right now are playing 1 or 2 stadiums, either ones that benefit you or ones that you can bump, and that's why we're seeing a really high artisan count, right? So we can bump those, we can bump the jamming towers as well too, and we just go straight. And as soon as we know no stadium, neutralization zone. We don't have Lost Vacuum in format anymore. Not a lot of people are playing Baby Qian Pao that bumps stadium. So neutralization zone, sure, you got it. And then right at the end, you can go on ahead and Calamity Storm and take that with you.
Yeah, so there's the 2 E-switch. The mini package is available. So you can start at E-switch attach all in a turn. So you do have that late game sweep threat. Or even just a mid game, like earlier aggressive, knowing that these build. Kind of cool. I do like Fan Rotom kicking things off as well, because taking those early prizes with Fan while you guidance your deck all the way to the bottom is pretty sick as well, I think.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, including me, I hate Ancient Box just because of I see a strong single prize deck starting to come back into the mix, and I know I'm getting nervous, but this is obviously for something like a Gardevoir, right? I mean, Ancient Box can take care of Gardevoir like that's at times, so why not just throw in you can't do anything,
What do you think about no Monkey Dory? I feel like Monkey Dory would be expected in here, but I suppose you just don't give any easy bench stuff anyway, because these will just fly back into the deck against Pult. But it means that you have to it's a bit weird. Yeah, I guess it's not needed. But whenever I see Dark Energy, I'm like, where's my Monkey Dory? It should be in here. Where else are we scrolling down to for the other highlight decks here? There's Joey on Ceruledge in top 32.
Yeah, we gotta talk about that. We brought that up.
Yeah, Ceruledge.
Come on, finally,
with
right?
The Rev of Room.
We're so excited about this deck, honestly, finally coming to the forefront, right? Because it really is just, I miss Radiant Greninja so much, the deck at this point. But Ceruledge is, I mean, it's pretty good.
Is it?
I think it's good.
Why?
1 energy attach, and depending on how your opening hands have gone, you are hitting already for that much. You already, I mean, I would love to see a higher Turo count, right? But a stage 1 doing this much damage potentially is pretty good. And it plays Monkey Dory for you, Joe.
It does play Monkey Dory. So this does have the same Golden Go effect, and it's kind of like a mixture of Golden Go and Flareon, I suppose. But it doesn't have that consistency inherently, of course, because you don't have the Noctowl engine.
One buddy pop, it's crazy.
You don't have the Noctowl and you don't have coin bonus.
You just got Rumbling Engine.
But yeah, you got your Rumble, and at the end of the day, this is a big beneficiary of Briar. You mentioned how important that was for Flareon, and I think it's again a boast for Ceruledge how you can like laugh in the face of the Joltix and the Raging Bolts at times, the ones that love to 2/2/2 you.
I think it's so funny how I'm looking at things like the nest ball count, the buddy popping count, but then you think about it, right? You play Squawk, you play Carmine, right? So realistically, we are like shoving through maybe even close to like a third of the deck on turn 1 if everything goes our way. And what are the chances you just don't find anything?
Yeah, you're gonna find something. You're certainly gonna find something. You're gonna find something.
Yeah, you'll be fine. 2 jamming tower, thoughts?
I find it curious. Like, what are you afraid of? What do you need to jam?
What is everyone afraid of? Guardy, probably? I mean, this...
Yeah, I guess it's just Guardy. Guardy would be a horrific matchup without it. Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Wow, I was right about something.
Well, 18 energy just naturally means you have to cut on all these cards, and I'm just trying to be like, can I please play 2 Poffin? Please? Please. Okay, let's scroll. Let's go deeper. Do we look at John Roberts?
No, let's talk about Charizard. You didn't want to talk about Charizard, but I do. And it's back. And I'm crying inside because I don't like Charizard. But of course.
So John Roberts also a history player. So he, before creating V Kabuli, he was also, I think he's a national champion. He played Kling Klang, I'm pretty sure. Maybe in a Nats, maybe in a Deep Worlds run. But yeah, coming back with Charizard. Dust Noir, and it's
Trolley
it's an unconventional list, just like John. He always finds weird and creative ways to play lists. So seeing a 4-4-2 Dust Noir 4-3-3 Zard is really something, right?
I'm horrified. Because I know this player would absolutely mess me up at the tables, and I'd be like, I don't know what just happened to me.
It's
but
just surprise, Burning Darkness is ready, and I'm swinging.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Boom.
Guess what? I'm here.
Yeah, right. But of course, Charizard definitely making its way back into the meta. I know for a long time it has gone to the back for a little bit, and now it's just definitely coming back. I mean, Burning Darkness, good move.
True.
Dusk Noir, good card. Put
Also
them all
true.
together.
What do you get?
This.
I guess so.
But it's a seasoned player. I enjoyed the stream match, of course. It's going to be... I'm excited to see because this feels very, like... This feels like stage 1 of, like, building a creative list like this, right? I want to see this list go a little bit further. 4 Iono and 1 Brock feels a little bit off. I would love to see 2 Brock.
2 Brock. But it's Trolley Evo, though, right? That's the
I mean,
selling
fingers
point.
crossed that you don't have either of those prized.
Yeah.
You know, knowing me, I'm going to prize my ace spec every single time, or 3 Ogrepon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. It's definitely like...
It's a fun list, though.
I mean, it's so wild. How many skulls is he getting down? You gotta feel like T1, because you're not actually going budgie that often, right?
This plays no stadium.
No.
Not one.
Who needs it? People are gonna give you Artisan. It's fine.
Just assume.
Give me
Please.
that Artisan.
Please.
This is I need to play test this because I can't give a real opinion on it.
Well, we definitely don't have Charizard.
Yeah,
right
the only thing I have to say is that John Roberts is really like a visionary player and has made insane lists before that look very odd on paper. Like I remember his Vikabulus being like quad Skylar and being like that is so weird in the era, and it just flowed. So
Beautiful.
Yeah, like he's done it again.
We had straight Moon on there.
So
Tigers.
here's Tigers top 64. Roaring Moon. I've been playing this on
Poison Moon.
ladder actually,
Oh,
climbing on ladder
it.
just because it's an easy deck to get fast wins with, as we know. But it's okay. Like I don't think this deck's amazing, but I definitely see its benefits. I do I'm still such a stand for early game poison package taking prizes because whenever you just don't give Dragapult or Guardy Fez, their deck feels like mush. It feels like a lot of the time they really rely on the power of Fez to actually let their combos come together, especially Guardy, right? That's engineless. And this is surely going to have a decent time in Scarlet for all things going the way you hope. You have weakness coverage, you have early prize pressure, you have monkey to monkey back their monkey shenanigans. So there's a lot of strengths here. It has workarounds for Pikachu and high hit point stuff, so it's annoying for the Joltik box. Yeah, I think it's not the most consistent because you have to let rip your first Carmine all the time, and sometimes you just get duds. That's been my experience from online play so far. But a lot of the time, if your opening hand is like supporter plus ball, and you can Squawk, or you can supporter then have Squawk in the back, you do dump enough cards and you thin the deck quickly enough for it to actually flow like pretty well with Sardas. I don't know. This is another like just fast deck that I could see myself looking towards because I'm still looking to find the best poison package deck, and I'm tending to think this is a bit better than Archaladon. Any thoughts on Roaring Moon, or no?
I just want to build it.
Yeah, just get testing it.
I miss Old Moon. I really do.
Yeah, this is worse
fun.
than Old Moon for sure.
Perilous Jungle is such a hard card to find in your bulk, really. Like it really is. I think that's the only reason why I haven't built any poison package, because it's so hard to find in my bulk. But yeah, I mean it's Roaring Moon, right? It does have the ability to make anything go by. So how could that be bad? Yeah. Big shout outs to Tiger. I see him posting a lot, like in Burbank City. So
pretty cool.
He's got some good stuff up his sleeve.
Yeah, and we know that this is everyone's favourite PTGL deck right now. You face it all the freaking time.
Oh, well, I faced 3 Azumarils today, so I'll beg to
plead the fifth on that. Where are the Azumarils anyway? They're not showing up on the... keep scrolling, I guess.
Keep going.
Keep scrolling. What's the last list we highlighted?
Greninja Blaziken.
135.
Come on.
Yeah,
it's the only one of its
Alfonso
kind.
with the fried chicken.
Is that what we're really calling it?
I don't know.
It plays N too. Like
It does. It
I
has
think
the
when I
Zoroark.
saw this list, I was like, what doesn't this play? Like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. Greninja EX, I think, is a great card. You get to just take something and put it in your hand.
Yep.
And it's really hard to deal with.
And it's a spreader as well.
Yes, it does.
It has a Petrarunt in here for
'Cause why
Poison
not?
Chain, which is kind of cool.
This is
You have to
crazy.
attack with the Petrarunt in this list.
Blaziken EX is such a good card too. It's a stage 2, right? Like it's a little bit more of a high maintenance engine, if you will. But I love Morty's Conviction in this list. We love drunk cards.
You like it? I mean, I like it with the Zoroark package, I suppose.
Right.
I still think that Blaziken's just in that waiting room for 70 hit points, and then I'll see it as a real card.
Wow.
To be honest,
Look
like,
at it.
I mean,
Look at him. He's kicking.
the fact that this is doing well now is a really good omen for Blaziken when it gets a 70 hit point Torchic, I think. Because we still have the type coverage of Zoroark. We'll have, if we want to have Greninja as this spread threat that's like worth powering up, sure. Once we get to those 3 stage 2 board states, I feel like you're beating anything anyway. Mm-hmm. But like the fact that this, you get this one first and then it gets you the rest is very valuable.
It's so hard though because you like think about it, right? If this list goes second, right? Trolley, Arven, TM Evo, and then TM Evos, right? And then you have a Combuskin, and then you have a Frogadier, right? Like, what do you go after first when Greninja EX is only 1 water to really start kicking, right? So I think you can easily get very overwhelmed in the list, but I also think you can easily get lost in the sauce with this list, right? I mean, like, there's a Petrarunt in here. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot
I'm surprised
to
there's no
work
Lily's
with.
Clefairy. I feel like that would be good in here.
Would you cut the Petrarunt for the Clefairy potentially?
Possibly. I mean, I feel like this is the go-to, like, I'm starting to take single prizes and then not activating Fez, right? That's the whole idea.
Sure.
That you just use the physical attack, do 10, but you get the poison, so you're doing a 60 damage poison.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't retreat, so they're locked there. I don't know. This does feel a bit out of place. I don't know how great this is.
We would have to see like gameplay of it, right? It's kind of like seeing. For me, it was like seeing more like Ditto in Raging Ball. I really had to like see its profit to be like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But fun list. I love me a fun list that does well, and the shock factor here is certainly shocking. So. Honestly, great on you for going all the way with this list. It's just really fun to look at.
Pretty dope. I think that's some of the most interesting lists that we've seen. We'd end up scrolling forever.
Yeah, it's just
there were some Fraligators in day 2. There
was a Blissey.
There was a Blissey. We know that's had a great result from Fernando. And there was also a Mamoswine. And I think on that note, we'll call it a video.
Mamoswine is fine. I just lost to it on my winning in. It's okay.
It's all okay.
It hits hard.
It look at the size of it as well.
The swelling package,
the big air balloon.
Okay, hold on. The big air balloon is crazy. We're going further. But if you guys don't know, I lost in Atlanta my winning into Luxray reversal Defiance Band, which was so sick. Like, I was a little bit shocked. I get a little bit nervous because I have really bad anxiety when a lot of people watch me play. So I was kind of like, I was struggling in that match mentally. But this list was really fun to play against. I mean, big Mamoswine hitting for 340 for Raging Bolt, right? That's okay. Stop looking at me like that. But Mamoswine plays the Cornerstone Ogerpon. This looks pretty good. The big air balloon is nuts.
We'll leave it there. Awesome. Cheers, everyone. And we'll be back for more. I think we're going to look at some of the black and white cards.
Are we doing that?
Yeah.
Okay, we're
I
doing
think
that.
we might also look at some of the Champions League. Maybe commentate some games as well. Could be fun.
Co-casting.
Yeah, there you go. May as well put you to work. You are a caster after all. There you go. Right.
They let me cast this game.
Anyway, cheers everyone. See you next time. Bye.